The purpose of this video is to give you, the foreign national, and your sponsoring employer a general idea of what type of documents, information, and other items are needed to adequately prepare your TN visa mail application. Please note that this questionnaire is most suitable for a TN application being mailed to the USCIS. The video is broken up into 3 relevant parts. Part 1 covers all information needed from the sponsoring employer. Part 2 covers all information needed about the TN visa position being offered to you by the sponsoring employer. And Part 3 covers information about you, the foreign national. Let's begin with Part 1, information about the sponsoring employer. The information that will need to be provided is as follows: the employer's full legal name and any names that it does business as, the employer's main office address and the address of any satellite offices, the contact person for the employer who will be signing all documents related to the TN visa application. We'll also need the contact person's title, phone number, fax, and email address. The number of employees and independent contractors that the employer has in the U.S., the employer's gross annual income and net annual income. In some instances, we can omit this information. The employer's federal employer identification number, also known as the employer tax ID, EIN or FEIN, the year the company was established, nature of the employer's business. It's preferred to provide as much detail as possible describing the history of the employer and the nature of their business. Also include any relevant details such as other office locations of the employer. Sometimes this information can be found on the company website, but if not, it'll need to be provided in detail. Approximately 5 to 7 sentences should be sufficient as a start. It's also a good idea to provide as much tangible evidence as possible related to the employer. Examples of this include copy of the federal tax return, corporate brochure, any marketing material distributed by the employer, employer's articles of incorporation or organization, employer's website, any online references or articles in connection with the employer, employer's annual report, and or any other material that may be useful in displaying that the employer is a functioning organization. While these items aren't all required, it is highly suggested to include as much of them as possible. Moving on to Part 2, information needed about the position being offered to you by the sponsoring employers as follows: title of the position, salary being offered. This can be provided based on an hourly rate or an annual rate. Period of employment. Remember, this can't be more than 3 years for a TN visa. Work site address or addresses, including any client sites and or satellite locations. Name and title and or occupation of supervisor. Titles and or occupations of individuals the employee will supervise. Titles and or occupations of individuals the employee will work alongside. Detailed description of the job duties and anticipated projects. This is highly important. Some things to think about here are what types of projects you will work on, what will you design, research, analyze, or create, what is the benefit to the employer of the employee's anticipated work, and what projects will you work on. If relevant, provide a detailed list of tools, technology, programs, applications, software, computer languages, and any other relevant items and resources that you'll be using in deploying your job responsibilities. Provide a general overview of the knowledge, education, experience, skills, certifications, licenses required for the position. Provide a general overview of why the employee needs to fill this position. Part 3. The last part of the video is focused on information needed about you, the foreign national, and any members of your immediate family. We will need you to provide fairly straightforward information regarding your immigration history and background, and provide copies of the following documents: your passport, I-94, all immigration-related documentation like an EAD card, SEVIS I-20 form, and all previous approval notices. We will also need copies of your resume, all degrees, diplomas, and transcripts, any education evaluations, and any relevant licenses, certifications, or memberships. If a document is not in English, it will need to be accompanied by a certified translation. If you are transferring employers, we will need to include copies of documentation that evidence that you have maintained status, such as current pay statements. If you have a spouse and/or children who will be applying for the TD status as your dependents, we may also need information about them and their passports, I-94s, and documentation establishing their relationship to you, such as marriage certificate and/or birth certificate. Lastly, you will find the fees associated with filing a TN application by mail with the USCIS. The information provided in this video is not exclusive and should be relied upon only as a general list. Each case is different and may require alternate and/or additional information that was not discussed in this video. You should consult with a lawyer experienced in TN visa matters in order to properly prepare your case. Thank you for watching.